As consumers, we are bombarded by it at every turn, like the Incredible Hulk being bombarded by gamma rays. But what makes some media endure, while others are banished to the forgotten black hole of obscurity, never to be heard from again? Who or what decides this? Hetero life mates Steve and Yahel want to know, and they want to know now. This is Obscurity Now. And what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Obscurity Now, the show that takes a look at rare and forgotten pieces of media, and then we decide whether it should be remembered for all of time or tossed into the black pit of obscurity, never to be heard from again. My name is Steve, and with me is a guy whose mouth is as hard to close as the JonBenet Ramsey case.
That would be me, Yahel, and yes, a lot of JonBenet Ramsey. Well, I think like two, like JonBenet Ramsey jokes,
and that's why it's so funny.
Well, no. Actually, they go back to it like again.
Yeah, three times.
Three times.
Yeah. And what he's talking about is the movie that we are reviewing today, and that is Thankskilling. But before we get into Thankskilling, I want to know, Yahel Velazquez, how was your Thanksgiving?
It was good. Nobody died this time, so that's very pleasant.
No turkeys took revenge on anyone?
Yeah. I mean, no one's died at any Thanksgiving either previously. So, but this is just another murder-free Thanksgiving that I had. But no, I really didn't do much because my family was out of town and I couldn't go out of town. They
did that on purpose, right? So you wouldn't have to see you.
I was not upset. So yeah, I just chilled out at home during the day and then went out drinking at night.
So basically, it was a regular day for you, is what you're saying.
So basically, it was like a regular day.
Okay.
How about you? How was yours?
Mine was a little more traditional, if you will. I took my wife and kid, and we went to my wife's aunt's place, where we got a fine mix of traditional Thanksgiving food and Asian cuisine.
Very nice.
And that's how you roll when you marry outside your race. It's great, actually. I mean, we got turkey with walnut shrimp and some other Asian delicacies. It was awesome. And now here we are to close out the Thanksgiving month to talk about Thankskilling. If you're still looking for some more Thanksgiving content, please see our previous episode on the Marvel Comics Alf comic book, where he's forced to have Thanksgiving at home with Willie. I hope you got all those references in that sentence.
If you just can't get enough Thanksgiving-related media in your life,
well, there really isn't that.
You covered.
Yeah, well, there really isn't that much. So I feel like we're blazing a trail here in some ways.
Funny enough, that's basic. I was reading up on kind of the background of Thankskilling, and basically part of the reason why they made it like a Thanksgiving horror movie was because there's a lack of Thanksgiving horror stuff, and really in general. So
it's true. I mean, the only other thing I can think of that really stands out in my mind is, at least in terms of horror, is that fake trailer by Eli Roth that they played on the Grindhouse movie. In between.
I've never seen that.
Oh no! Oh, I can't even remember what it's called, but basically, it's a guy in a pilgrim suit and he's going around murdering teenagers. And it's a fake trailer that never was. I don't think it was ever supposed to be made. They kept teasing that it might get made, but it never did.
Gotcha.
But yeah, well, without further ado, are you ready to talk about Thankskilling?
Yeah. Let's get into it.
All right.
Welcome to your feature presentation.
All right, here we are at the Obscuritron, where we have various pictures of stuff involving Thankskilling. There's 3 of these movies, and apparently there's a musical. Did you know about the musical?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, I learned about it today.
we haven't even finished recording this yet. Did you somehow go to the future to learn that, or?
No, I mean, the internet gave me information
Right.
about it.
I hear it does that sometimes.
Yes.
So what is your history? Like, when did you first see Thankskilling?
I want to say I saw it in 2009 or 2010, and on Netflix. I think I found it, right, and then I told you about it.
Yes, that's absolutely correct.
Yeah, the person I was dating at the time, she was really into horror movies, as am I, and awful movies too. And we were like, oh, this looks like it'll be like terrible, so we gave it a shot.
Yeah, well, I had never actually seen it all the way through until I watched it. I think I actually watched it Thanksgiving night, if I'm not mistaken. I think I've started it.
Hope with your family, your multicultural family.
No, they were long since asleep. Because I remember one time I was looking around, I think on Tubi or something, and I was like, "Oh, Thankskilling is here!" And we basically watched the opener, me and my wife, and she was like, "No, thank you."
Well, literally, the first shot of the movie is like a boob.
A boob,
like
yeah.
Of a boob. So.
And I saw on one of the DVD covers or posters that they touted as boobs in the first 6 seconds, which is pretty hilarious. But let's jump in the IMDb here. So the premiere date of Thankskilling is December 6th, 2008 at the Sacramento Horror Film Festival. And here's a very short synopsis. I mean, I really don't think there's much more to say other than this. A homicidal turkey axes off college kids during Thanksgiving break. And that's all I could find. No one even bothered to write any other stories or synopses on the IMDb.
Yeah. There's some good reviews on the old IMDb though. A lot of them too, like 60-something reviews.
Yeah, we should definitely highlight some of those in a second here. This is directed by and written by Jordan Downey, and some of the other stuff he's worked on is something called Headhunter, Thankskilling 3, and I guess another film called Red Weather. I don't know if you checked out his IMDb, but it doesn't look like he ever really made anything past Thankskilling, which is a shame.
Yeah, well, you could say that for a lot of the cast as well.
Well, we'll get more into that later. The other writer here, and he's also the cinematographer, is Kevin Stewart, known for Thankskilling 3, The Headhunter, and something called Hack Job. So basically, it seems like the old Stewart Downey, production house. They basically worked on a bunch of stuff together. And then also credited here with additional dialogue is Bradley Schultz and Anthony Wilson. And this was produced by Jordan Downey and Kevin Stewart. And the production company's name is In Broad Daylight Films, which I don't think they made anything else outside of Thankskilling, at least according to the IMDb. Did you want to nail out the cast here, Yahel?
Sure. I mean, I'm not going to go over everybody because there's not...
there's no need to.
Right. So I'll go over a few of the major characters.
Sure.
First, we have Johnny, who... I think he gets the most lines throughout the movie.
And I love that his real name is Lance Predmore, because that sounds like a Johnny type, captain of the football kind of name.
Honestly, they should have just used that as his name. But he's like he's not the captain of the football team. What is he? He's the backup quarterback.
Right, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember why the other guy was why he wasn't the actual quarterback, but. He besides this has only one other credit. Also the same year. It was called Horrorville something, I don't remember, but it was like some other horror film. The film, as we mentioned, opens up with just a breast in your face, a bare breast. That breasts, those breasts belong to one Wanda Lust. And if you were looking up internet porn between 2004 and 2010, you may have seen her. She was an adult film actress, and those were the 6 years where she was primarily active. Did a little bit of research while you were yapping, and
Good work. Good work.
yeah. Outside of that, Billy, who's like your, and by the way, Lance, just as Johnny, he plays like your kind of somewhat typical like jock character, except like he's not like it's weird because like usually in these kind of movies, the jock guy is like a jerk to everybody, but honestly, he's pretty cool and nice to everybody, including the nerd that like joins up with them. And
right, they did a good job. Like it's like each one of them represents sort of a different subsection, I guess, of
like
college.
A stereotype of these movies.
Yeah, but then they're all friends at the same time, and it's surprisingly believable.
Yeah, and honestly, really refreshing to not have to like go through like the usual. They do. I mean, don't get me wrong. They definitely do stuff with tropes. Like, he's like carrying around a football when you first see him, which like in film and TV, if there's a football player or a basketball player, you will always see them holding like whatever ball belongs to their sport.
Sure, and that's also. I think that's a good segue into our next trope, which I'm sorry to stamp on your lines here. Natasha Cordova is Allie, and she's pretty, so she must be stupid.
Yep. She was probably the worst actress, actor in this movie, which is ironic because she has the most fucking credits by far out of everybody else.
She's also probably the best looking, so that's probably why.
She was in, I guess it's like a Spanish TV miniseries called La Viuda de Rafael.
Awesome.
Which means like the widow of Rafael's widow. She was in that for like 12 episodes, which that doesn't feel like a miniseries. That feels like a like a season. Yeah, real weird. She was in something called Legend of Cayman in 2011. And the reason why I mentioned it is because her character's name is, I don't even know how you pronounce it. I'm going to spell it for you. Jeigh.
Jai?
Jag? Like it sounds like somebody like just before like your cat vomits that you hear.
Isn't that Klingon? Can you translate for me?
Yeah, actually that could sound like a Klingon word. But anyways, yeah, she was in a couple other TV series and a few other things, and she was in one thing called Underwater Experts as herself.
Wow.
So I don't know what that's about, but
maybe we should ask Wanda Lust. Maybe she knows.
Yeah, well, let me read to you the description because I'm not going to even go over anybody else in the cast.
Okay.
The elite underwater experts are searching for a new member to fill the missing link on their team. The experts are queens and magicians of underwater photography, from lighting to construction of sets. They do it all, and they do it underwater.
Great promo. You make me want to watch it.
This must be like a reality show because like it says that like 3 girls have been flown in to be put into a series of tests in the hopes that the next underwater expert will rise to the surface. Anyways, I'll be checking that out.
Sure.
It says that this show has been going on since 2012. Like it's still active, apparently.
Wow, man, that sounds like a possible future episode. I definitely want to delve back into the world of reality TV after our Bret Michaels episode.
Yeah. But anyways, outside of that, like nobody in the cast did anything really of note. But what did you think about the acting overall?
I think everyone really tried their best, and they. I mean, everyone is supposed to be over the top. This is one of those movies where, it's kind of made to be bad on purpose, but it really does a good job of sort of walking the line where, a lot of those other movies, they'll maybe break the fourth wall too much or make it just everybody completely unlikable to the point where, usually those movies are just, I just want to turn them off halfway through. Yeah. But this one, they, at least script and plot wise, they actually, have the decent beats of a real movie, and they just sort of weave the jokes and the tropes and the stereotypes around it. And that's why I think this movie pretty much works. I guess spoiler alert somewhat, but that's what kept me from turning it off, at least.
Yeah. It's like very self-referential and self-deprecating.
Yes.
But it just does it with like just a slight wink and a nod at the audience. It doesn't like beat you over the head with we're making a terrible movie on purpose.
Right. Yeah, they pull back just enough.
I think the thing is like with the movies that you're talking about, like stuff like Sharknado, where they're trying really hard to be bad. It's like they try so hard and it comes off very obvious. This like kind of still has like a sense of fun and just like kind of like innocence to it in a weird way.
Right.
Although I don't know if that's the right word to use, since literally the first line in the movie is "nice tits, bitch" from a murderous turkey.
No, I think you're actually right. Innocence is the right word, because unlike Sharknado, these guys obviously had like no budget, and they're doing
$3,500 was the budget,
and they're doing the best they can with what they've got. Whereas Sharknado, I mean, I'm sure has maybe not infinite funds, but quite a bit more. And then, still they're just, it's Sharknado. And you can see the shortcomings definitely in the sort of the technical aspects. Like, what camera do you think this was shot on?
I don't know, man. It was a little all over the place. Like the quality from scene to scene would be like noticeably different, but I will say I found it less jarring than that Dean Cain movie.
Andy the Talking Hedgehog. I was going to say there's a lot of parallels between Andy the Talking Hedgehog and Thankskilling. And then the way that, we essentially have two talking animals going on here. And they are both voiced by the director of the film.
Oh, okay.
Did you notice that Jordan Downey voices Turkey?
No. I
he does. So that was him saying,
he does an awesome job.
Nice tits, bitch. And and also we've got what were some other just a complete lack of cinematography and lighting. And that's
but I will say the audio is decent all throughout.
Sure. I mean,
there was one scene inside like one of the houses where it was like kind of echoey. But again, maybe it's because the last thing I watched was Andy and the Talking Hedgehog or whatever, where the audio was like awful. Like half the time.
The voiceover for Andy the Talking Hedgehog was bad. Like they didn't even make it sound like he was like in the scene talking. Where, I mean, I don't know if Jordan Downey was actually there, like manning the puppet, saying the lines on set, but it felt like he was actually in there instead of just recording ADR in a studio.
Right.
And
anything in a studio on this.
So
I bet he was doing it live to tape, like right then and there, because otherwise, this doesn't seem like they'd have money to like go back and do reshoots if like, oh, this isn't going to work with this line here or whatever, so I think they were just like, hey, we got to do it like real time.
Right. And it adds to the energy of the film, I would say. And so if you decide to watch this, which, I mean, it's available on Tubi for free, so why not? I will say that it is, you sort of have to hang in there. The opening is hilarious, of course, and it shows you exactly what you're going to get. But then basically until the next kill, you sort of have to hang in there, and it's a little tough with the bad cinematography. But you should definitely.
There's like 15 minutes or so after the opener where it's a little bit. I wouldn't call it a slog, but you feel the time. You feel the time.
I mean, they're just introducing the characters.
Right? How dare they try to establish?
I mean, hey, that's what I think sets this apart from, as you said, the other stuff, the Sharknadoes of the world. But I think, are you ready to jump into?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. So before we're treated to, a boob completely filling the scene, we get opening text on screen that says, the year is 1621, the olden days. And then we get another one that says, moments after the first Thanksgiving. And then cut to a giant boob filling the entire screen. And it belongs to a pilgrim who is running topless through the woods, and she's being pursued by something. They do that typical, or that classic, I would say, sort of monster predator POV, where it's like, the color is discolored. It's like a red for
Right,
some
right.
reason. I'm sure that's how turkeys see in real life.
Yeah, of course.
And then she gets knocked down. Then we see her pursue her. It is a turkey, a hilariously looking puppet, basically. And then he says, "Nice tits, bitch." And then cut to an axe being held off frame. You can only assume that Turkey is holding it somehow. She screams. And then we get the opening. And what did you think of the theme being played during the opening credits? The
Honestly,
music.
I like it. Like,
Yeah.
it's pretty well done. The opening credits, like, I don't know if that was like a template or something, but I'm like thinking, all right, so they filmed this like in 2008, 2009. Like, they're pretty, reasonably nicely done, like 3D.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. Yeah, it reminded me of like Spawn. Remember?
Yeah,
Remember the opening of
yeah.
Spawn? But yeah, Spawn was a little bit better. So now we are at the and also I do feel like the opening credits was a little long, which movies like these, including horror films, tend to do so they can pad the running time.
And this movie is short. It was only like an hour and 6 minutes, right? Something like that.
And so then now we're in present day. We're at a college. They play the atypical like pop rock, pop punk like college song in the background, and where we first meet Johnny.
Must be like they must know like the band or something, because it was like a real song with lyrics.
They had a couple of those throughout the film, I would say.
Yeah.
And we meet Johnny, the atypical jock dude, and Billy, the atypical sort of fat party redneck guy, who at the very beginning he rips off his shirt and he's like, "Thanksgiving break," and then the two ladies show up, and it's I don't have their names written down, Allie and Kristen. And Allie, of course, is the dumb, promiscuous one, and like she lifts up her shirt too, although she's still wearing a bra, whatever. And like Kristen is kind of supposed to be the more reserved type. She's always calling them like immature and stuff like that. And then nerdy guy Derek shows up, and this is funny because it just gets really homoerotic for some reason. He's basically, Derek is really impressed by Johnny and his football stats. Yeah. And Johnny says like, "Do you want to touch my bicep?" And he does.
Yeah, he like starts flexing, like just Johnny's totally into it. What a progressive young man on the football team.
In 2009, this was really ahead of its time.
Yeah.
Then they all pile into a Jeep and drive away. Any thoughts on the, I guess, first act opening here?
It's okay. It's I would argue maybe the worst part of the movie.
Yes. The least interesting.
Yeah. Just because you're meeting these characters and they're not particularly great actors, none of them.
No.
But it's okay for setting up who the characters are, and they're all going on a trip together.
Right.
During Thanksgiving break, which that's not really a thing. you get like a couple days off from school. That's it.
I know, it's so funny how excited it's basically you could swap it out for spring break. It's pretty funny.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, we do have someone in the chat. Historic Nerdy mentioned that turkey erotica is the new. I think he meant genre we all needed. Well, there's some erotic turkey scenes in this, indeed.
Oh gosh, yeah. Well, I've been a fine connoisseur of the genre for many years. Okay. We'll talk later, historic nerd. Maybe not, but okay. So they all pile into the Jeep, drive away. Then we see a redneck dude. I forgot his name is something. The Hermit. I can't remember. And he's with his dog that looks like Lassie, who is pretty much named Lassie. And Lassie wanders off, and he starts following her. Now we're back at the Jeep, and Derek says, since it's Thanksgiving, we should all say what we're thankful for. Johnny says he's thankful Derek's mom has the juiciest poon in town.
So stupid.
I know. But, like, that's so...
That's the kind of dumb thing that
exactly
you would expect like some dumb like college boys say to like rib each other
Sure, I mean, and that's straight out of all those 90s like American Pie movies, and then that one that Ryan Reynolds is from, I can't even remember, but yeah, that's
waiting.
Well, I mean, yeah, that one or the one where he's in college. I can't remember what it is. It's some
Van
guy's
Wilder.
That's it. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so
Sorry, just Ian wrote. Historic Nerd wrote the Turkey Erotica podcast. See you there, turkey heads.
yeah. So pretty girl Allie, who of course is dumb, asks what a poon is, and her friend Kristen calls them all immature. Johnny reminisces about his dad. Let's see, you wonder why they do that at the beginning, but it's good because it just gives Johnny a little bit of depth and backstory, which most of these movies don't even, try to do.
And it has like a small payoff later.
Yes, they do a good job with setups and payoffs in this. Derek says he's going to go wild and have sex with someone in the car. And then we're treated.
What a weird. Can you imagine, Steve, being on a road trip, and it's you two other guys and just two women, and you just blurt out, "I'm gonna have sex with someone in this car," and you're dead serious about it. Like, how is that? That sounds like you might be looking to rape someone in the car.
Yeah, whether you like it or not, I'm gonna have sex with someone in this car. Who is it gonna be?
Woman, I don't care.
Yeah,
You got a whole. It's gonna be filled.
And then we're treated to the first John Benet Ramsey joke by Kristen, because they're ragging on Allie for being easy, slut shaming, I believe they call it nowadays.
Yes.
And then Kristen goes, "Her legs are harder to shut than the John Benet Ramsey case." And I mean, again, since this was my first time watching this, I was like, a John Benet Ramsey joke in 2008, 2009? Like, what are they doing here? And then we cut to Lassie.
It's like, what? Like, do you think that's a good joke or like?
No, I think it's just like one of those, sort of like a Full House joke. I mean, it's not good.
I don't think that's a Full House.
Well, no.
joke.
I mean, just one of those where they just wanted to have like a dumb sort of topical analogy, but it's not topical because that case hasn't even been a thing since, I don't know, the 90s or something.
I don't know. I feel like it was always like in the public's like eye. I mean, we both knew exactly what they were talking about.
Right.
I thought like, even now, like, I'm not sure if it's like a hilarious joke or just a terrible joke, but like, it always makes me laugh because the first time when I watched it, like, that's the last thing I expected.
Right.
John Benet Ramsey reference.
I know.
Number one, and number two, for it to be a joke.
And I think that's why this movie works, because it really gives you some shit that you're not going to expect.
yeah, it's ridiculous. And what I really like is that it's such a dumb, weird joke, and they're like, "We're gonna drive this into the ground," and it gets brought up again and again.
And I love it, like, because like, here as a first-time viewer, I was really confused as to why they're referencing the John Benet Ramsey case, because like, number one, it's a little dated and also kind of sad, but you can't take this movie seriously. It's like it's like, I guess if dudes were to do a 9/11 joke here in 2021, sort of kind of on the same level. But the fact that it pays off later on in the film, like, completely turns the joke on its head. So we cut to Lassie. She finds like this totem pole thing in the woods and urinates on it, and that causes Turkey to spring to life. And it's funny, the urine from the dog is obviously someone just pouring like, a water bottle onto the ground. It's hilariously bad. And they didn't even bother to dye it yellow or anything like that.
Right.
Cut to inside the house day. The sheriff, who we later find out is Kristen's dad, drinks some coffee. He spits it out in disgust and asks his wife, he goes, "Did you shit in this?" And she goes, "Yes, I did, and I want a divorce."
Yeah. He's like, "This is disgusting. What'd you do, shit?" And she's like, "Yep."
It's just the most over the top and like, sort of sad thing at the same time that it just is hilarious. It's like, what's up?
Oh no, I was just gonna say, Smoke Monster in the chat said that the turkeys just look like Jim Henson villains.
Oh man, I wouldn't say it's that good, but but it's definitely among, in the right direction. Looks like it was something that you would see in the Dark Crystal, I'd say. And before I forget, I have my own killer puppet movie. It was like the first thing I ever filmed. Violent Prejudice on YouTube. It's on my like personal YouTube. If you're really interested, I'll put the link in the show notes. Check it out.
I'm gonna look it up and put the link in the chat.
Oh sure. Hey, that'd be great. I hope it's on there. I meant to.
I recommend you guys watch it. It's hilarious. It has 64 views, all from me.
Thanks, buddy. So we're in the house. Yeah, Sheriff, I guess he basically just got a divorce there from his wife who's shitting his coffee. And just imagining, what was the director's name again? Jordan Downey and this other guy just sitting down and writing this stuff out. Like, I mean, they must have been just cracking up the whole time. But
yeah, he said that like the whole like idea for the movie started as a joke.
Those are the best kind.
Yeah.
So let's see. She wants a divorce. I found the sheriff's accent really hilarious, like just bad, Southern sort of sheriff.
Yeah.
And that's when we find out that he's Kristen's dad. And while they're on the phone, the Jeep breaks down on the side of the road. So
typical.
They just
a lot of horror movie tropes in this. They play with them really well.
Sure. I mean, this is basically like a Naked Gun of like a killer puppet movie
of like
stuff.
A creature feature, yeah.
Yeah, or I mean, basically this is if it's not a turkey, then it's Chucky from Child's Play, basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, they decide to pop a tent, and I mean, this is also great because they can save big time on location costs and stuff. You just pop a tent in the woods, and there you go. You got your setting. And Derek finds a sign on the ground that says it's Crawburg. And then Derek fills us in on the backstory in the backstory of in a montage of like sort of fun drawings. What did you think of the montage?
Surprisingly well done. Like they do like a little animated sequence, and I would assume that this is where like half of that $3,500 went to.
Yeah.
And the other half maybe to the opening, the 3D credits.
Right. I kind of wish they would have, taken some of that money and spend it on some lights. But hey, what can you do? So,
but it's part of the charm. But you're right.
Yes.
There's some poorly lit scenes for sure.
So he tells us that the settlement of Crawburg was the site of the most notorious act in Pilgrim history. In the 1500s, this Native American named Feathercloud was dishonored by a pilgrim. And the pilgrim is an ancestor of Billy, the fat redneck guy. Feathercloud cursed all white men. He decreed that a turkey, come up be resurrected
500 years or something
every
like that.
500 years to, I guess, wreak his vengeance on all the white men. Of course, no one believes him, and they just laugh at him. And Kristen asks Johnny if he wants to stay in her tent with her, and of course he says yes. Now we're back with the redneck guy. He finds Lassie, who is dead, of course. Turkey is still there. Redneck guy, I should just call him Hermit guy, shoots at Turkey, but he gets away. Now we're back with the kids.
The turkey like dodges the bullet.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we later find out that he's like invincible, protected by the spell. So Kristen,
the turkey is protected, not the hermit. Just
right. Thank you for clarifying that. Kristen leaves the group to call her dad again. Turkey shows up and says he's gonna. All right, there's a lot of great one-liners in this movie, and I hope I caught them all. And here is, I would say, the second one after "nice tits, bitch."
And really, part of it too is like the delivery.
Yes.
Of the guy, like you, like this movie, like the turkey says, like I think this movie does like edgy humor the right way.
Yeah.
Where
he says
it's the bad guy make you doing it. You know, it's not presented as a cool thing.
No.
Although like some of the one-liners are like pretty fucking hilarious. But.
Yeah, he says awful misogynist things, and it's hilarious because it is a talking turkey puppet.
Right, and he's the bad guy in the movie too.
Right.
Anyway, so you know,
yeah,
that's how you do it. You have the bad guy say the bad things.
Yeah, and also I would say it's sort of a montage to Freddy as well. Who, I mean, he sounds a lot like Freddy Krueger. So let's see. Christian runs back to. Oh yeah, he goes.
Oh wait, the line.
Here's the line. Yeah, don't worry. He's going to drink her blood like cranberry sauce. So this is the first of many like Thanksgiving dinner puns, which, I mean, that's how I imagine they wrote this thing. They wrote down all the puns and the jokes first, and then they weave the kills around them so he can say them and have them make sense. So Kristen runs back to her friends. She tries to tell them that there really is a turkey on the loose, but no one believes her, not even Derek, which is kind of weird because he was the one who, told the story. Yeah. She gets mad and leaves. Then a rabbit gets thrown on the fire, which is pretty random. And Derek says its stomach got gnawed open by a turkey beak. So he does some CSI on roadkill here, basically.
Right.
Derek goes to bed, and Billy tries to put the moves on Allie, but she is not interested. Is there anything else left to unpack in that scene there? Yeah.
No, I think that's pretty much the whole camping scene. I did think it was funny that when the car broke down, they were like like very nonchalant about it. Like Johnny did not seem to care that his car had broken down, and I guess like it overheated or something, and he's just like, because the other friends are like, oh yeah, we should just camp, we've got beer or whatever. And he goes, yeah, car does need to cool down. like they don't like call for a tow truck, they don't whatever. And then the next morning the car just works.
Yeah, that was so convenient to the plot. Yeah. So Billy
like you said, obviously it was a way to have them camp.
Sure.
Save money on sets.
Sure. So I guess I forgot to add that Billy basically slept under the stars, not in a tent, and he wakes up in the morning to the hermit guy with the shotgun pointed at him, and he says he's there to save them from the turkey. He points out that basically there's turkey droppings on Billy's
chest.
Yeah. So magically they fix the Jeep, or it works or whatever, and then they talk about turkey for a bit, and then we are treated to the most insane scene of the movie, I think. I don't know if it gets crazier or at least more transgressive than this. So Turkey is walking on the side of the road. I guess you don't really know that he's hitchhiking, but I guess he is in his own way. A dude pulls up, opens the door, and says, "Ass, gas, or grass," which I guess is like a road talk for like, I'll give you a ride if you either give me weed or give me gas money, or you give up some sex. So
have you never heard that phrase?
I have. I guess it's been a while. Not as much as you, apparently. But
well, Steve, you think it was easy to travel across the country?
I've been away from Florida for
weeks.
I've been away from Florida for a long time. You'll have to cut me some slack. So Turkey, of course, he has no grass or gas. And so he like turns around and basically offers up his ass. And then the dude says, "Ooh, that's a tight ass." And then he begins to unzip his fly. But Turkey turns around and has a shotgun out of nowhere. And then, all right. Let's take a pause there. All right. So that's insane to begin with. It
is a giant. I mean, shotguns are long to begin with, but it is like a comically long shotgun.
It's so awesome. It's so Looney Tunes, yet it's happening here in live action. And so it goes even further. All right. So the guy says that he has a daughter. Please don't kill him. Turkey says, "You call her," and he does. So, and he's on there giving this like sad monologue, like telling his daughter that everything's gonna be okay, and then
I love you, tell your mom I love you.
And then Turkey blows his brains out
mid-sentence.
Yeah,
the guy's like, talking to his daughter.
It's so like cold-hearted, like it's just over the top that it's freaking hilarious. It's like, I don't know, I laugh so hard. And then of course he takes the car, and it's just like, it would have been enough for him to just show up and like, maybe just shoot the guy or just kick him out of the car and take it. But no, like Jordan Downey wanted us to know that this is one cold son of a bitch turkey that he wanted this guy's family to know that he is now dead because of him.
Yeah, he wanted his family to hear him getting killed.
Now that is a goddamn villain. Like, my God.
Yeah.
Marvel MCU, take some notes. Like
Jim Henson Company, take some notes.
Yeah.
Come on.
All right, so now it's nighttime. They drop off Allie, and Kristen makes the same John Benet Ramsey joke, and everybody laughs again. And this time I laughed because, like, I never thought I'd hear that joke again.
Well, here's the thing, Steve. They don't just laugh. Like, they laugh about it for a really long time.
Yeah.
And because they drop off, like, where they they make the same joke, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, that was great, you got her so good," and then they laugh some more. Then one of the other ones says, "Yeah, that was great, you got her so good." Like, it goes on for a hilariously long time.
Yes, and it was awesome. And so now, cut to Johnny. He goes to his parents' house, and Johnny has like a moment with his dad. Tells him he finally made a starting quarterback. And then they.
Well, wait a minute. Sorry to cut you off, but just to back up. So the whole reason, apparently, why him and his dad, because earlier Johnny mentions that he and his dad haven't been getting along. And it seems to be that it's because Johnny's not the starter.
Right.
Starting quarterback, and I think he had been injured or something. Mm-hmm. Was a reason. But anyways, so like he says hi to his dad. His dad's like, gives him the cold shoulder. So he tells his mom, "I'm just gonna lie to him." So he lies to him and tells him that, like, I'm finally the starter. Mm-hmm. And how sad is it? His dad suddenly warms up to him. He's like, "Oh, I knew you could do it just like your old man." So apparently his dad was the starter at the same college.
Right.
And in a way, I guess it's good that his dad then gets killed because he never found out the truth.
But this is the genius of the movie, though, because they take you in one direction, like, this sort of somewhat like heartwarming scene with the dad, and then right when they've reconciled, in comes the turkey to ruin everything, and it's just genius, and it's freaking hilarious. So and then
and the turkey like kills them because they're like sitting on a bench or something. And the turkey like basically stabs him from the back or something.
Yeah, he cuts his head off, and now
Oh, that's right.
And now I realize this is it didn't even dawn on me at the time. This is the the multi-layered Jordan Downey approach. Like his head basically gets. I think Turkey tosses the head to Johnny like a football. So God,
and he catches it.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Stanley Kubrick wouldn't have done it better himself. Like, it's so good. And so now we are at Allie's house, and she is having fully clothed sex, a doggy style with some dude.
Obviously, this girl did not want to. Compete with Wanda Lust,
right? Well, they only had enough money to pay Wanda for her topless scenes.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned payment, because I was kind of wondering if Wanda Lust got paid or not, because I read an interview or an article with these guys about because they ended up doing a Kickstarter for the sequel, and that Kickstarter raised like $100-something thousand.
Wow.
And like 110,000, something like that. And anyways, they mentioned that they didn't pay anybody.
Oh, wow.
This movie. But I don't think Wanda Lust would have just done it.
Yeah, why would a professional porn star just show up and do it for free? Like, she must.
I mean, this was the tail end of her career, though.
I mean, yeah, and she shows up in the other two films, right?
I know she's in Thankskilling 3. I don't know if she's in Thankskilling 2. They did pay people with the. I mean, you can't raise $100,000 and then be like, "I'm not paying you." Right,
absolutely. So Allie's having fully clothed doggy style sex with some dude, and Turkey kills him and basically takes over for the dude. She doesn't even notice.
No, she does. She does notice, because she says, "Oh, she says something like you you smell funny? You
Well, all
feel
right. I mean,
weird or
she
something like that?"
notices a slight difference, but it doesn't seem to bother her.
Well, I mean, have you ever had a turkey penis inside of you? Maybe it's similar. I don't know. Maybe there's a lot of plumage going on there. A lot of feather. Who knows what it's covering up? We don't know and this is a supernatural, immortal turkey.
Okay.
We don't know what has been changed about its penis. We don't know the girth.
You're right. I am completely misjudging Allie here and her character motivations. So yeah, all right. So Turkey gets in there, and it must be so good that she just lets him finish, and then he delivers another great line in "You just got stuffed," and then he breaks her neck, which sadly is a little anticlimactic. It's the brain jacked, I'm gonna just break everyone's neck at the end style of killing, because they didn't want to, I guess, do anything too big for whatever reason. But the fact that he was able to, I guess all the stuff leading up to it was great, though.
Yeah. Oh, I will say while the guy that's having sex with her, when he kills him, he like slits his neck and like some of his blood falls on her back, and she goes, "Oh, you're done already? Oh, you're so quick!" like she thought like he just finished on her back. Like,
right. That's classic stuff. Family friendly.
This is a holiday film.
Yeah.
With family holiday film.
Absolutely. So meanwhile, the gang arrives at Allie's. Derek tries the John Benet Ramsey joke after did they find her dead first and then he tries the joke? I remember they were all crying for some reason.
I don't remember.
Or maybe they were.
I want to say like they found her first.
Yeah, and he tries the line, and it doesn't work because they're all sad. Right. And then Johnny comes out of the house. He's got a feather and a wrapper of an extra small gravy flavored condom, which is just freaking hilarious.
So stupid.
I know. It's so dumb. It's genius. Then they all decide to go to do research at Chris. That was such a bizarre scene, the way they were like, all right, how are we going to beat this guy? Well, we don't know. We need to do more research. Let's go to the library, idiot. It's too late. All the libraries are closed. Let's just go to Kristen's, whatever her name is.
Yeah, Kristen, because her dad has a lot of books. Right. She was like, oh, he might have something.
No one else had books in their small town. It was only Christian's dad. So interior.
I do. Yeah, like they could have said something like, "Oh, my dad has a lot of books about the occult."
Right. Something. But I mean, I don't know. The fact that they didn't put thought into it is hilarious in and of itself.
Yeah.
So interior, Kristen's house. Her dad, the sheriff, looks at a flyer on the fridge. And the flyer is basically like I guess a costume contest, dressed like a turkey. So he says he has to get ready. The doorbell rings. This is another genius scene. And the sheriff is now in a full turkey suit, and he answers the door, and the turkey is wearing Groucho Marx glasses disguised as a human. So neither of them knows that the other one is... I mean, do you think Turkey was... Do you think
No, Turkey knows. Turkey knows that he's like a human.
Okay,
so... They even talk about how he's Kristen's dad.
Mm-hmm. So, all right, the dad is stupid then for not knowing that Turkey was just okay. So they both
he was drinking shit coffee. I mean, I'm sure it didn't smell good either. When he drank.
Right. True that. So they talk. For some reason, the sheriff thinks Turkey is a little person.
Right.
And then they're having a conversation, and for some reason, I guess the turkey was gonna let him live. Until
this is probably, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but this is probably to me like the funniest scene.
It really is
in the whole movie. Like it's so awkward on purpose. They're like on opposite ends of the table, and they're just like having a normal conversation. And like at some point, the turkey says something. He says "fucking," oh, this fucking thing. I can't remember like the context, but then the dad is like, the sheriff is like, wait, fucking, how old are you? Because he's supposed to be like. Because he had established that he was one of Kristen's friends.
Right.
And that's how the turkey let him in. And the dad let him in. And he says, like, the turkey then replies, like, very, like, matter-of-factly, I'm 500 years old.
Yeah.
And then the dad all just kind of thinks it over and says, well, shit, I guess you can say fuck then. I guess you're old enough to say fuck then. I don't know, man. Like, I'm not doing it justice. Like, it's really the delivery of, both like the turkey voiceover and the actor playing the sheriff. Like, it's just so good. It's so good.
Yeah, this is it's weird because I feel like we've sort of had a string of episodes that all sort of tie in together. Like, this is very Garth Marenghi's Dark Place in a way, because it's all about the delivery and just the over-the-top nature of the material. Yeah. Only this one isn't like throwback the way Dark Place is.
And then they the dad just keeps saying like kind of things about little people, and he's like, oh, I think you guys have had it really rough and blah. He just says all this weird stuff that's and then the turkey at one point is like, yeah, this is really awkward, so I'm just gonna get out of here,
right?
And then the dad says something else, and then the turkey's like, I swear, if he says one more fucking thing, right? So the turkey starts like leaving, like, okay, I'm not gonna kill him. And then the dad says something, I don't even know what it is.
I got it right here. Sheriff says the turkey is an odd little duck, and the fact that he was called a duck was what set him off. And so the turkey kills him. I mean, we don't see it. It's they sort of cut away. The gang knocks on the door of the sheriff's house / Kristen, which is weird. Why wouldn't Kristen just walk into her own dad's house or her house? But then you don't get this hilarious scene where they answer, and Turkey is wearing the sheriff's face a la Leatherface as a mask. And of course,
not wearing any clothes, mind you, so it's still all turkey from the neck down, and the face is just like kind of hanging off his beak.
And of course, they fall for it basically, and then they go to the garage to check out the books basically. And this was again another really bizarre sort of scene here, the montage of them reading various books. So they find out that the turkey can be killed if he's removed from his magical talisman. But there's also a math equation or something. Like,
it was like, they have to like remove the talisman from which they're like, just kind of funny. They're like, where would he even? We didn't see anything on him. Where would he even have that? Right. Which is kind of funny because he always has like all this shit, like the gun, the condom, like the Groucho Marx. Like he's always hiding the stuff somewhere.
Sure.
And I think like at one point somebody even so they point that out, which is kind of funny. Like I was saying earlier, the movie's like very like self deprecating in that way. But one of them, I think Billy says, Derek says, well, he's got a lot of plumage. Like.
Yeah, it's just like an odd like word choice that totally works.
And then Billy has like a reaction to the word plumage. She like mouths plumage.
Yeah, it is. It's a funny word. Yeah, but just little touches like that are what make this film work. And it's funny that also the book that they're getting all this info from, which I'm surprised they didn't do like an Evil Dead reference and call it like the Turkey-nomicon or something like that. But I don't know, it's probably better that they didn't.
Yeah, I think it's better they didn't.
They cut to the book, and it's obviously made out of cardboard. It's like the worst looking prop that they like threw together. Yeah. So Billy then goes inside the house, and he walks in on the turkey hiding the sheriff's body. Billy puts the turkey in a headlock, and then they just get the talisman from him. And then magically, Derek cracks the code. It says they need to burn him at the stake and say a demonic prayer. But he escapes from that headlock and just sort of runs away, right? Like, then they crack the code.
But then he kills Billy.
Right, yeah, we're getting there. Billy wanders around outside.
That's what it was.
He sees a cartoon turkey and tries to eat it. Then Turkey punches his way out of his stomach, I just love the creativity they put into these kills. It just really makes the movie. And then Turkey delivers another awesome line in gobble, gobble, motherfucker. And that's what I call foul play. I forgot about the turkey laugh. It's always like it's so good. I mean, just the puns. Like the puns alone are worth watching this on Tubi. Anything to add about that scene, Yahel?
No. I do think it was funny that, again, like, so they had Billy throughout the movie several times talk about how he's like hungry or whatever.
Because he's fat.
Right. And how appropriate then that, the kill comes through his stomach. Like, it's like stuff like that's like simple, but, it's just like little things like that just make it more rewarding to watch.
It's all about the characterization, brah. All about the characterization. Yeah. So Johnny and the gang find Billy cut open on the side of the road. And then it gets really, really weird and hilarious here again because Derek is so broken up. He says that Billy was his best friend, which they never acted like they were friends at all in the entire film. And they have this ridiculous montage of them skipping together, eating ice cream.
Eating ice cream together.
Derek tucking Billy into bed. I mean, just hilarious all around.
But they and then the song that they have playing, it's I bet the director or one of the writers is him singing it. It's just oh Billy, you were my best friend.
Right. It's very South Park. Yeah, very yeah. So interior, Turkey makes a salad in his teepee. The gang arrives. They go in.
But while the turkey's making the salad, he's murmuring to himself about the health benefits of a salad. Yeah. Did you catch that? He's talking about the how it's low calorie, and I can't he uses some. I should have written it down, but he's talking about oh yeah, salads help a lot of antioxidants in here.
Yeah.
And he does it for a long time, maybe 30 seconds. Just good stuff.
Right. So the gang arrives, and it's the teepee that you see on the exterior shot is so small, but when they go inside of it, of course, it's huge. They can all fit inside, no problem. Right. They start chanting their prayer. Turkey loses his invincibility. He runs out of the teepee. And yeah, this all happened pretty quick, and I was surprised, but luckily there's still more to come. He runs out of the teepee, and there's the hermit dude. He shoots him with his shotgun, and then he lands in a dumpster of toxic waste. But the important thing here is that, there's in order to actually kill the turkey, they need to basically burn him at the stake, a la Salem witch trial. But dude shows up and shoots him, and I guess they just decide that it's good enough. Did they ever explain? They're just oh, he got shot and he's in there. He must be dead.
Well, they get to him, and because at first they're mad at the hermit for shooting him,
right?
Because they're oh, they even say he has to be killed a specific way. But when they get to him, they go, oh yeah, he's dead. Mm-hmm. So they were satisfied,
right?
And I think that there's a line. By the way, guys, I am putting for you guys to watch later to get a feel for the movie. I found a YouTube video that's just some of the turkey's best lines from the movie. So that way you can get an idea of what he sounds like in the delivery. And from there you can kind of, I guess, make up your mind about the movie. But don't they say something Johnny says something he's dead?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, it might be a little later. Because later he says he's dead unless he fell in radioactive waste. And then Kristen says, "Don't be silly. That only happens in movies." And that's exactly what happens.
All right. That's why I'm glad you're here. I completely forgot about that. So the gang goes back to Crystal's and watches a movie, Night of the Living Dead, a great public domain choice that they didn't have to pay for to show. Johnny asks Kristen to be his girlfriend. Again, this is, I'll just read through it first. They start making out. Derek says he has to go pee. It's funny because first when they start making out, Derek just sort of watches them for a little bit, which is kind of funny and creepy. He says,
they start making out and they fall down on the floor off camera, and all you hear are suckling noises and smacking noises, and then an unzipping.
Right. Yeah, so Derek
That's
says...
when Derek is like, I'm going to go pee. But
Yeah.
sorry, I keep cutting you off, Steve, but I did want to mention like that scene when they're on the couch watching Night of the Living Dead. They're all three like very close together. And like Kristen and Johnny start talking to each other, and Johnny says... he says to her, now I want you to keep in mind, they've seen two of their best friends murdered. They themselves have almost been murdered. They have Johnny's parents are dead. Kristen's father is dead, and then Johnny tells her, "You know, in a way, I'm glad this happened."
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, how could I forget that? Yeah. Oh my god.
Which is fucking hilarious. He says, "I may have lost my parents, but I gained a girlfriend."
Oh man. Yeah.
And and then she's like, "Do you mean?" And then he's like, will you go out with me? Like, and then they start making out, and it's just so like, and the actors like played it so over the top, especially the Johnny guy. Like, honestly, I just wish our friend Mike Labosca would have been in this role.
Oh yeah, he would have been good in that. Yeah.
Yeah, he would have been awesome for us. But yeah. Anyways, I just wanted to point that out because I had that line in my notes.
Oh yeah, no, I'm glad that you did because that was a classic. So let's see. So Derek is washing his hands after urinating. He walks out of the bathroom, opens the fridge to get a snack. He gets stabbed with a meat thermometer in the butt, and the turkey says, "You're done, bitch." And now he's glowing radioactive green, which just looks awesome. Like they really should have merchandised this film. But anyway, he pecks out Derek's heart. Like he just completely ravages Derek, which is
right.
Pretty awesome.
He like bites his tongue and like pulls it out of his mouth, basically.
Yeah, Derek gets it the worst out of everyone, I'd say. I mean, I guess at least he didn't get anally raped. I mean, there's that. But okay, so Derek sees Billy in afterlife. Oh, Derek sees Billy in the afterlife. Then we got a close-up on Johnny at the end. Oh, wait, that's a different note. Yeah, so basically Derek dies. And then Johnny goes to check on Derek. He finds his dead body. Turkey carves him up with an electric carver. Kristen runs up and asks, "How are you still alive?" And Turkey replies, "I always come back for seconds." Like, just so brilliant. So brilliant.
Yeah.
So then Kristen and Johnny run to a work shack. Kristen then burns the turkey with a can of WD-40. Johnny dies. Then Kristen, of course, Turkey's still alive.
Do you remember like what Johnny says when he's like dying?
Oh, do tell.
He says, again, he's a football player. He says, "I wish I could call a timeout."
Oh, that's so good. Oh my God. And so yeah, Turkey shows back up. He's on fire now, and then Kristen takes a bat and hits him, and it sends him flying over to the what do you call that? Like the I guess the stake that they originally built in the first place, where they wanted to burn him. They send him there, and then he burns there, I guess, to death. But then we've got one final stinger scene.
Doesn't the hermit come in at the end too?
Oh yeah, he does. And they just sort of have a chat, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I don't think it was anything important. I don't know why I brought it up.
No, it's all right. I should have wrote it down, I guess. Family. All right, so we have this random family sitting down for Thanksgiving dinner, and then like it's like sort of a typical.
What about the kid there's a kid wearing like a turkey hat?
Yeah, of course.
He's not a kid. He's like maybe like a senior in high school, and like presumably his little sister asks him, Tim, why are you wearing that hat? He just smiles and goes, "I just love Thanksgiving."
Yeah. Yeah. It's just to drive it home even further. And then
I just needed to point that out.
Right. And then out of nowhere, their turkey starts moving. He says something about a sequel. Do you know what he says? Did you write it down?
He says something like, do you smell sequel? Or
yeah,
something
okay.
like
something. Yeah. So yeah, basically their turkey somehow ended up on the turkey ended up on their table. Yeah, it says something on a sequel, and then bam, cut to credits.
Yeah.
And that's that. Here, let's run the bumper, and then we'll render our verdict. Did you have something else you wanted to... Please, go ahead.
Yeah. I have a few other quotes from the film that I just wanted to...
sure. Absolutely.
Just bring up because they were funny. They're not really turkey quotes, but let me see here. At one point, one of the girls is talking to Darren or Derek, whatever his name is, and they say, like, come on, I mean, it's totally impossible for a turkey to kill a human, right? And he goes, oh, there are ways.
I remember that. Yeah.
There was hold on. There was another one about I guess I didn't write it. At one point, like they when they're reading the books, Billy says like, and they find like the book, like first half of the instructions are in English, the second half is in code. And then Billy says, I hate books. I just wish they would tell you what to do.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that one slipped by me.
Literally what books do, you know.
Right.
Anyways, that's the other ones I had.
Oh, those are great. Okay.
Oh, wait. I'm sorry. There's one more.
Okay.
When Derek or Darren shows up to face off with the killer turkey, he says, looks like I got something you don't. And the turkey said, what's that, Darren? A vagina? Oh. Just his delivery.
I know. I mean, the turkey could really... They need... like to have like a talking turkey, like plush, where you pull the string and he just says,
oh my God, that'd be amazing.
I know. Yeah. Well, Jordan Downey needs to get on it. All right. Let's render the verdict of this puppy.
That's the question.
So, Yahel, do you think the movie Thankskilling should be thrown into the pit of obscurity, never to be heard from again, or to be remembered for all of time?
Well, I think by the way you heard me talk about it, my answer. I think this is a really fun movie. I guess don't watch it if you're easily offended, but I think even if you're easily offended, you'll end up enjoying it just because it's so over the top. It's so ridiculous. I think it's great.
I agree pretty much with everything you just said there. I mean, obviously... It has, as far as its technical abilities, it falls a bit short. But, I mean, it's so hard to find a movie that's, like, quotable these days. And this one is it. Right. And, I mean, they really, like, where they lack in technical precision, they make up for in, like, a really fun, hilarious, over-the-top script. And, I mean, you don't even see movies like this anymore because, everyone's so obviously offended and whatnot. So yeah, Thankskilling should not only remain in the public zeitgeist, but should probably be enjoyed every time Thanksgiving comes around with you and your family. So yeah, let me run the bumper and we'll close out. In accordance to Obscurity Now, the most important streaming YouTube podcast in all of the internet, you shall be remembered. Yes. Good show. Good show. Whew. Oh, what a ride. But speaking of rides, that's an odd transition that doesn't really work.
No, it doesn't.
You released a new video. How's it going?
Yes. It's doing okay. It was performing kind of not so great. But it got a decent little bump today. So I'm not too worried about it. A lot of times with YouTube these days, I find like you put out a video and it doesn't immediately start to skyrocket right away. And then like a week or so later, suddenly YouTube's algorithm is like, okay, I'm ready to promote you. But some like pretty big, some people with some pretty big followings retweeted it earlier today. And that's it's helped quite a bit. Yeah, dude, like at one point when I looked, I picked up like 100 subscribers in like 30 minutes.
Oh, God. Wow. I would kill for those numbers for this YouTube channel.
Maybe I did.
cash grass or YouTube subscribers.
But dude, I ended up staying up. I don't know if I told you. I stayed up till after we did our show last week. I stayed up till 8 a.m. finishing the video.
Oh wow, it's dedication.
Because I had to get it out. I mean, it was already kind of like 2 days late for that. I didn't want the magic spoon people to break my legs. Not that they would. They're wonderful.
I just picture them like beating you with a giant spoon. It's like,
no.
Where's the video, you hell? Boom, boom, boom.
Honestly, they were actually really cool about it. So about it being like a little late. But stayed up till 8 a.m, slept for 2 hours, and then logged into work. It was a real fun Monday for me.
Yeah. And then you got to watch Thankskilling later on. So good. That's all. I mean, I'm interested to see. I'm sure something about that's Rare related, because everyone loves Rare. I bet it's probably going to do better than your last video, which I love that one, by the way.
Thanks, man.
Learning about.
I really like the Winners Don't Use Drug video. Like that video was like real quick to write. I mean, relatively quick to write, just because it was like, I don't know, such like a weird little like topic that like no one's ever like really covered.
That's why it's something very obscure, would you say?
Yeah.
Bitch.
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate it. No, I'm sure it'll do fine. I mean, a lot of people have requested it before, and especially after I did the GoldenEye video. And Perfect Dark is the follow-up to GoldenEye.
Sure.
I guess I should mention that it's a video about Perfect Dark on the Nintendo 64.
There you go.
So it'll do fine.
Sure. Other than that, before we started recording here, I was on the Marvel D&T Evolution podcast. They were very nice to let me talk about Escape to Earth, my upcoming comic book. Oh, and I also actually finished the script for the full issue and already sent it out to my artist. So he's gotten started. So that crowdfunder is going to be coming sooner than later, because, I mean, I would rather not pay for everything up front, but it's going to come out one way or another. And, of course, we talked about Obscurity Now and a lot of Marvel stuff, because that is the title of their podcast. And once it's available, we'll put a link in the show notes. Other than that, I think that's about everything. Are you excited for next week's show?
I am, about the Chainsaw Reindeer comic.
Yes, we've got, much like we did, with Halloween and sort of like we did with Thanksgiving, December will all be Christmas-related media, except for the final episode. I'll tell you about that in a second. First, we're talking about a really obscure comic called Chainsaw Reindeer. Second, we'll be talking about the Will Ventoon's Claymation Christmas special. And third will be Santa with Muscles, starring. Is it starring Hulk Hogan or is it starring Terry Bollea? You tell me.
I want to say it was billed as Terry Hulk Hogan Bollea.
Oh, well, both of the guys. Wow, this is going to be awesome.
Yeah, a lot of man meat.
And then
man meat.
They'll be rounding up the month/year with a wrap up of 2021, because it was such an awesome year. It's going to be great to talk about. But so I think that's everything. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and please tell your friends so we can get 200 subscribers in 20 minutes or whatever it was that you got. And we'll see you next week on Obscurity Now.
You've been enjoying Obscurity Now, a podcast that's recorded live to tape and streamed to Twitch and YouTube. Subscribe so you never miss an episode or hilarious quip. Take us with you by following the download links provided in the show notes to wherever you get podcasts. And take notice of our various social media links if that's what you're into. I'm not here to judge. And make sure you join us live next week at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific as we continue to discuss more obscure media only on Obscurity Now.